Hey there, I'm Steve and this is Alan, and we have a couple questions that we didn't get to on our webinar today. The first one for Alan is, what would be considered, or what should be considered when setting policy for BYOD?
Yeah, so I think this is a great question. I'm sorry we didn't see this one when we did the webinar, actually, when we were doing it live, because I think it's a good one for conversation. The first thing that you should think about is ways to segment your applications themselves to understand which ones are touching highly secure data, which ones are really true or fit for public consumption, which ones you know and are concerned about being able to sort of erase or wipe. So kind of categorize your applications by the amount of risk that they may expose, and that risk would be measured by the data they touch or the access they have to back-end systems. Then you should also have a really good understanding of who your user community is. So who are you trying to deliver those applications to? And that's not about delivering applications to a device, right? That's about delivering applications to a user in a role, right? This is a salesperson. This is a senior executive, right? This is a VP. This person works in corporate M&A. This person works directly with customers. This person works with private personal healthcare information or what have you. But having a really good understanding of the roles of your users as well as the understanding of the roles of the application are necessary in order to start to build policy. And then you can start to think about the policy structures in terms of, well, it's all about data protection, so what do I need to do for data at rest? Do I need to encrypt the data here, or is it okay if the data is not encrypted? Do I need to protect data as it's transmitted over the network or over the wire? So do I need a policy around data in motion, as we would say? And then, of course, things like data in use. So when the application is running in memory and people are working with it, do I want to disable the clipboard? Do I need a methodology to make sure people can't do screenshots, disable the camera, and that sort of thing? And then over time, you can start to expand those policy capabilities into richer things. Are there specific areas where you can run the application and other areas where you can't? So that's commonly referred to as geofencing. Can I create a block and say, hey, this application can only be run when you're in the office, but when you're outside of the office or in a foreign country or some other location, you can't run that application? Are there policies you require around the time at which an application can be accessed? So can it only be accessed during business hours, or should it be able to be used 24/7? And then lastly, is there sort of a temporal expiration date on that? Is there a best before date on the application? So I'd say the data in this application are only good up until this point in time, and then after that I'm going to revoke all privilege or revoke the application itself. So that's really the three key areas that you want to consider. Understand the applications and the nature of the data they use, be able to segment them and categorize them. Understand the users and their roles, and what devices they may need to access from, and then understand how you want to handle or how secure that data is. That'll help you formulate that policy.
We got another question that talks about or asks about malware, and in the context of MDM and MAM, and I think that they're asking about which management technique might make users feel more secure or be more secure.
Right. So, MDM often looks at malware and says, hey, it's just about a blacklist. So we have a blacklist of applications, and we can't or won't distribute one of those. The problem with doing that kind of solution is, right now I think there's 500,000 apps in the App Store alone. Maybe it's even 600,000 now. Apps change incredibly fast, incredibly quickly, and there's no way you can keep up with a blacklist that's that long. So what's more important is understanding how applications actually behave and what's the nature of what those apps are trying to do. And that's really what app inspection is all about. It's taking those applications and looking and see, first of all, do they do anything with privacy data that you'd be concerned about? Are they trying to access a contact list when the application has nothing to do with managing contacts or interacting with them? Does the app track somebody's location but yet not use location as a core functionality of the app? So things like that. And then there's data leakage concerns. So is this application trying to create an SSH tunnel to someplace, some foreign national and try to tunnel data through it? Is this application trying to write outside of the sandbox and share data with another application, or write somewhere, or is it trying to shuffle data across the network and that sort of thing? And then, of course, there's just the general spyware and adware kinds of things. And so these questions come up a lot, particularly when you have third parties writing applications for you. You want to make sure that you can trust the work that those folks have done, and you want to know the app does what it's supposed to do. But it's also a problem for writing apps internally as well, because you may quite often utilize code, even though all of your developers internally have the best intentions. they may utilize code or code libraries that came from a third-party source and may not be trusted. So you actually want to be able to look at those applications and say with a great deal of assurance and confidence, I've looked at it, I've inspected it, I know what this application does, and then I made a conscious decision to release it inside of my organization.
Sounds great. Well, thanks everyone, and enjoy the full podcast. And you can comment and tweet and leave comments on our blog, and we'll see you at the next webinar.
Thanks.